Hey, Tada, we are back with another video. Advocate Baloi, for almost 2 weeks now, he's been cross-examining Ulona Wantans on telephone numbers. He even tried to put Mabena under the bus. The late Mabena, may his soul rest in peace. He even asked Untans, what was your relationship with Mabena? Meaning that he's suggesting that Umabena was the one that helped Untans to make those phone calls with airtime and so on and so on. But no, Mapena was not working for Untans. Mapena was just another policeman that was part of Gininda and the rest of the rogue units, but not part of Untans. But the real case, Kabaloi, he seems to have forgotten. He needs to go back to it because it's his case. But now I'm going to play an audio. Kasiyabonga Mia before he was captured, where he laid out ukuthi ubani wabulala usenzo. Lalela uzwe kahle.
Police, my brother, amaphoyisa njengamanje kumele engabe abopha uLongwethwala for killing uSenzo. Senzo was shot by uLongwethwala. There was no one who entered the house. Bese ebopha all these police who have defeated the ends of justice. uSenzo was shot by uLongwethwala.
Bob Mayo, Bob Mayor.
Listen. A call was made by Tumelo. The first call when Senzo was shot. Was Tumelo, a boyfriend, Kazandi, of which he didn't know by name, had shot Senzo, and then a phone was dropped. At the background, Ukeli, she was crying, Senzo. And that information was given to the SAPS. Why they do not want to arrest Longwethwala, I do not know. You can quote me on that one. His boyfriend, Kazandi, at the time shot and killed Usenzo Meyiwa in cold blood. We were told when Usenzo was shot by Utumel. And then we made a call back. What do you mean? What's his boyfriend, Kazandi? Uzandi, the boyfriend at the end. He shot Usenzo.
Bob Mayor.
And the police were told that several times by the person who was called. So I don't know with Simanje, these things about make up by.
Yep, that was Siyabonga Mia before he went to the Sangoma and told a different story or sang a different tune. But now, Advocate Baloyi needs to go back to his case because the case, my telephone records will not move us anywhere. Now he's trying to make this case all about credibility. He's trying to prove that Mwandan lied about having a phone in his cell. That will not solve this case. Remember that Baloyi had a star witness. His name was Constable Zungu. Constable Zungu told the court that on the 26th of October 2014, these 5 men before court were at Kwabini's house, a hostel. He said they arrived early in the day and then they drank alcohol, and then later on they went to refill at Tops. At about 6 p.m., they left the hostel, but they came back after 9 p.m. carrying guns and wearing hoodies. It was specific to say that it was Mwantans and Kadamnumbi that were carrying guns. He said they drank whiskey to celebrate the death of Senzo, and they announced it before it was announced in the news. He then concluded that they are the ones that unalived Senzo because if they could announce it before it was announced in the news. But the problem with Baloyi and the Constable Zungu is that this story was debunked by Wabini and Ubabu Absalom Zungu to some extent. So now Baloyi now is trying to make this case about credibility because he can see that Constable Zungu has been discredited by Ukwabini. That is why now he's focusing on these silly telephone records. But Baloyi is making a mistake here because now he's putting innocent people's life in danger by reading their telephone numbers on records. They could be phoned by some idiots in this country and be threatened or whatever. I do not understand the point of all this. He reads number kagogo Wantanzi, umama kaNtanzi, abangani baNtanzi back in Marikana and so on. Those people have nothing to do with the death of Senzo Meyiwa. Ntanzi explained that uMabena that was using the cell phone number, the cell phone to phone these people. He said, for instance, the number Lebo was not saved, but it was there on his phone because Lebo had phoned before, so it was easy for Ntanzi to call back that number. So that is how Lebo was being called several times by uMabena. That's it. And to make it worse, Advocate Baloyi even tried to put uMabena under the bus. Remember, he asked him a question. He said, Ntanzi, how was your relationship with uMabena? He put Mabena under the bus. He was suggesting that Mabena was helping Ntanzi to make those calls. That's why he asked that question, how was the relationship with you and Mabena? He's suggesting that they were friends. That is why Ntanzi had ability to buy airtime and phone those people. He suggested that Mabena helped him. Mabena was part of the police. So Ntanzi answered, Mabena wayiphoyisa. Ngangenge bomngani nomuntu wangibopha. Those were the words of Ntanzi. So uBaloyi needs to go back to his case now and focus. Akhumbule he had evidence against his men. But now I want you to listen to Brigadier Gininda, who narrated the state case very clearly. And Baloyi needs to go back to the case because now this thing of telephone records is not moving us anywhere. Just listen to this and we'll talk about it.
Investigation which resulted in evidence under oath revealed that the victim was murdered as a contractual assassination or hit rather than a robbery gone wrong. Evidence under oath revealed that 5 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution of the contractual murder of Senzo Meyiwa. The suspects are as follows. 3.1 Musika Ukhulelwa Themba Sibiya. He was first linked to this offense by means of witnesses' statements under oath. The accused boasted to individuals closely associated with him in KZN Homeland as to his involvement together with Mafiga, herein under suspect 2, Carlos herein under suspect 3, Mapisa herein under suspect 4, and Nkani herein under suspect 5. Into the killing of the deceased. A dispute ensued between these individuals, and the closely associated individuals disclosed to the SAPS the admissions these accused made to them. The accused was further linked with circumstantial evidence wherein he, minutes after the incident, made disclosures and remarks at a family gathering he attended in Phosphorus as to the killing of Senzo, even before the death was reported in the media. He is further linked by means of a formal confession he made to the commissioned independent officer on the 30th of May 2020. In this confession, he clearly implicates Ms. Kelly Khumalo as the person who gave them the instruction to kill Senzo Meyiwa. When I was walking away, my lord, I just don't remember which of the 2 members called me to say he wants to speak to me. This is now accused 2.
Uma sengihamba ke angisakhumbule ke ukuthi imuphi ke kulamalunga ke esiphoyisa ke noma amaphoyisa ke alangibiza esho ke ukuthi ke umsolo wesibili ke ufisa ukuthi akhulume nami.
My lord, when I returned, what he then said amounted to what led to the arrangement of the confession that was taken by Lieutenant Colonel Rapado.
Uma sengibuyela kuyena ke abakusho kumina ke ikona ke ekwaholela ekuthini ke kube sekunalesi statement ke manje esikhona ke lesi esabhalwa noma esathathwa uyena uKolonel Rapado.
And he was cautioned, my lord, in terms of his constitutional rights. I've dealt with this thing. I just don't want to burden the record by repeating the same thing, my lord. But I did caution him in terms of his constitutional rights when he made a confession, because in essence, he admitted that he was involved. He implicated accused number 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
Mase kulokho ke manje ngase ke manje ngimtshela ke futhi ngimxwayisa ke ngamalungelo akhe ke ngoba kulokho ke awayesekukhuluma ke manje ke la wayesevuma khona ke futhi ke esho ke futhi nokubandakanyeka kwakhe ke noma ekhuluma efaka yena ke umangalelo wokuqala, umsolo wokuqala, owesithathu, owesine kanye futhi nowesihlanu.
Further mentioning my recollection, my lord, Mrs. Kelly Kumalo as the trigger point or the person who hired them to kill the deceased.
Ekusho ke nokuthi ke umuntu ke okwawuyena ke oweza ke kubona ke ukukhulumisana nabo ke ukuthi ke babulale umufi kwaba uyena uMiss Kelly Khumalo.
I further recall the vehicle, the mention of a VW Polo being mentioned, my lord, by accused number 2 as the vehicle that was used during the commission of this offense.
Ngiyakhumbula ke esho nokusho ke yena ke umsolo wesibili ke ekhuluma ngemoto ke AVW Polo.
Yes.
Esho ukuthi iyona ke imoto eyayisetshenziswa ke uma ngabe kwenziwa kona lokho.
I further recall, my lord, that you mentioned that accused 3 was the one with the dreadlocks, and that is the person who fired the shot that killed the deceased.
Ngiyakhumbula esho futhi ke nokuthi ke umsolo wesithathu uyena ke owayena dreadlocks futhi ke uyena ke owadubula ke umufi ukuthi aze ashone.
He further placed the role, my lord, of each accused. To say in other words, accused number 1 was standing outside, which indeed, my lord, was for the first time. I actually got a collaboration to confirm what accused 1 said in the 2 previous confessions, my lord.
Yeah, that was your favorite brigadier, Ubongani Kininda, stating his case. But now Ubaloyi is moving away from that. Baloyi is now making this case all about credibility. He's reading the telephone records of Mwandans to show that Ntans was lying about not having a cell phone in prison or in the cell. But now making a case all about credibility does not move it forward, because we already know that the DNA expert has come to court and said these 5 men before court were excluded from samples taken from the house, meaning that all these guys were not there at the crime scene. Even the hat that was allegedly left by the intruders, the DNA on the hat does not match the 5 men before court. Instead, that hat has got a DNA of a woman. So Advocate Baloyi is trying now to make the case all about credibility, but that does not work. Remember, in the case of Amatoso, the judge there said, Amatoso, I do not believe that you are telling the truth. I do not think you are honest. However, I'm not going to find you guilty because the state has failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. So proving that someone is lying will not win you a case, because it's not evidence that is putting these men at the crime scene. Baloyi needs to put these 5 men before court at the crime scene. So he failed because the DNA failed to be on his side. Secondly, the pointing out by the people in the house failed because none of them can point out Mwandans and Gadla in 2014. The case was investigated and none of them were able to point out to Gadla and Ntans that was there. So now Baloyi is making this case all about credibility. That won't help him to move the case forward because it is not proving anything. Ntans could be lying according to him, but that does not prove what he shot Senzo Mwenyiwa. So now we need to go back to his case. Remember that he told us that accused number 5 is the one that was Umdikilo Zinkabe. He was the one that was organizing the shooting. He was constantly phoning Kelly Khumalo. But we only have one phone call. That was about 90 seconds. So in Baloyi's mind, the shooting and killing of Senzo was arranged within 90 seconds because that call lasted about 90 seconds. Remember that Kelly Khumalo was phoned. According to Baloyi, I think Kelly Khumalo was in Mpumalanga. That call lasted about 90 seconds. And that call allegedly came from accused number 5, the cell phone number. But that's all we've got to link Kelly Khumalo. Baloyi read the bank statement, woke up to the Mahlanu, but there was no proof of payment with Madinganilo or anything like that. So now, how to prove that there was conspiracy to commit murder if you cannot link the masterminds to the case? So we must remember even when they went to the crime scene on the day that Senzo was shot and unalived, the police that were investigating the case from the beginning could not find the cartridge or the bullet jacket on the same day, which was the 26th of October 2014. Instead, they found the bullet on the following day, on the Monday, which shows that that bullet jacket was planted in the crime scene to implicate any other person other than Ulongo Thwala or any of the people that were in the house. That bullet jacket that was tested by Uma Mangena was planted in the crime scene because the state wanted to solve this case so desperately. They even wanted to implicate anyone other than the people that were in the house. So this is the state case. We had witness after witness from the state, but none of them could link any of these men with the shooting. That is why Advocate Baloyi relied more on the disputed confessions ka Sbi and Undans to implicate these guys. But remember, Undans had to do a second confession because in the first confession they failed to include all the lies. So they had to do a second confession where they added more spices so that they can implicate everyone else. So this case is going nowhere slowly because Baloyi has got no case here. Got no case whatsoever. Instead, Baloyi should have charged the people that were in the house. You heard on the first audio, Gucci Siyabonga Miya said Senzo was allegedly shot by Ulongo Thwala, allegedly, while he was trying to separate the fight with Zandi and Ulongo. Unfortunately, the bullet went off. Then Senzo was shot. That is the case that should have been opened by Ukininda and the rest. Makhubo tried to open it, but Baloyi refused to prosecute Ulongo Thwala and the people in the house because they all lied about the shooting. So now we're in this mess because it's all about covering up for Longwe now, allegedly. That's it. Siyabonga Miya in that first audio did not mince his word. It was clear to say Nuzihlope received a phone call from Tumela Madlala saying that Senzo has been shot by Ulongo Thwala ngephutha. So we're not going to have even a murder case. We're going to have a case of couple homicide, killing someone by mistake. And I'm sure that if Ulongo was charged and convicted, by now he would be out of prison. But because of the state, we're in this mess. But now listen to Wandanzi defending himself like a real lawyer. And I'm glad that he put Baloyi in his place because he answered every question. He made sure that he fears nothing because if he's in doubt, then Baloyi would rejoice as if he's guilty. But listen and enjoy it, Danko.
Isithombe sokuqala sithathwe ke mhla ka-24 September ngo-2020 isikhathi ku-13:43:21. Then isithombe sesibili lesesibili sona naso sithathwe mhla ka-24 September 2020 isikhathi ku-13:43:58 okusho ukuthi ke zishiyana ke ngemizuzwana njengabo 37 lethombe zombili.
Angikhulumi lona iphutha ngizocela mina uprintele ikhoti ithombe kuyibambe ikhoti ibuka la madate ngicela uyiprintele.
I'm requesting, I'm not confused about the dates or making a mistake about the dates. I will just request that you print these pictures and you give them to the court so that the court will follow as we go on.
Ngoba lesi sithombe lesi esinye ngikhuluma ngaso mina nasi isithombe sasekhaya nasi 2020 09 24 13 43 58 mawuqhatha sisithombe lesi usisa ngale lesi sithombe lapho ufunda sona the same date it e1 le.
Because I'm looking at this picture that was taken from home. And it shows here the date is the 24th of September 2020 and the time is 13:43:58. When you take the same picture and then compare to the other picture, the first picture, the date is the same and the time.
Ngicela ungiprintele ithombe inike ikhoti lizona zonke lezi thombe iphambi kwami uyine ikhoti ufuna ikhoti mangikhuluma ibuke lento engikhulumayo.
can you kindly just print all these pictures that I'm talking about, give them to the court as I give the explanation, the court will be following and looking at the pictures.
The photos are displayed there on the screen. As we put to you, Mr. Ntanzi, that the photos are taken seconds apart, 37 seconds apart.
Izithombe ke nazo ke ziyaboniswa khona lapha kumabonakude angithi kodwa uthi umshutshisi afuna ukukhomba khona ukuthi ukubona ukuthi le thombe lezi ke zishiyana lephala nge-37 second.
Rustenburg to KZN izinto ezihlukene lezi.
Police officer, remember I'm a member of SAPS. I know the ins and outs of SAPS. I know what they are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. And that they did to me. They did to me, one of their own. So I'm telling people every day. I say Ntanzi, Sibia, whoever didn't have a chance against Gininda and his team. If they could do that to me, they didn't have a chance. If they told them, you did it and you will sign this confession, they did it. If they say they were tortured, I believe they were tortured. I believe they were tortured to sign those confessions, because if they could, they would also have tortured me. But they didn't have that opportunity to torture me. You understand? So,
Yeah.
those people who are talking and say these people made voluntary confession, there's no such. There's no such. The police don't have rules. They don't have. That's why Gininda is sitting in court today. Never ever have been follow official rules. Now he must account, and then you will say no, but it's not supposed to be like that. Warning statement is a warning statement. When you interview someone, whether that person is arrested or not, that you have to fill in the warning statement. I heard him talking about the show. I called another general who was also part of the top management. I said, you know what, General? I remember one time you told me about this unlawful short division that they made for themselves at a police station because of some lazy detectives, because they don't want to complete the entire form. Now they take certain pages and they make it. They make copies of it and they interview you with those ones. Those ones are not official. They are not official. The official one is the one that Mnizi was holding there. So what I can say today, I'm not going to leave it like that. They plan to destroy my life. Even with these interdicts that they obtained against me, I know that the National Commissioner told all his deputies they must obtain harassment orders and interdicts against me because I'm exposing them. But the same National Commissioner is the one who gave me information. He is the one who I've been communicating with. He is the one who actually wanted to investigate the same deputy harassment orders and interdicts against me. I don't mind to go to court. My lawyers are. We are more than ready to go to court, because always, you know, the stupid part of these people, when I communicate with them, I'm always make sure there's a paper trail somewhere. General Masimula, we communicated on WhatsApp, and we communicated through a third person, because he told me he is afraid of Becky Taylor. That's what he told me. He said Becky Taylor wanted to appoint Lieutenant General Musikidi as the National Commissioner. And Becky Taylor and Lieutenant General Musikidi are up and down. They went to China together. They went wherever they are together. He's on the sideline. And he told me that he's not even working in his office because his office is bugged. He's not even using his own email address because his phone is bugged. And he asked me, they say, let's communicate through this third person. And that's how we communicated. General Masimula wanted to do a project to get rid of all his deputies. He said that General Libya and General and Tele are very close, and Libya is investigating him. He even went as far as going to Professor Merida Haas, and he said, Professor Merida Haas must talk to me so that we can protect him from Tele. And Professor Meridas even made a joke and say, you know what? They are both devils, but currently he's the better devil. Currently he's the better devil. So we better side with a better devil than to side with Cele. And you know what? We protected Masemola. We protected Masemola. Masemola is no saint. We have a lot of things against him. He's not a